Good evening, Space Monkeys! I am your host, BlueHighwind, here with a rambling segment of just me talking for about a half hour about whatever comes into my mind. No script, nothing written down, no plan whatsoever. I have a few ideas of what we're going to talk about, and that's about it. Just me talking, and that's it. Get it? Got it? Good. Anyway, first subject is James Rebhorn. He lived from 1976 to 2014. And if you don't know who James Rebhorn is, he was a E-lister actor, minor character actor. You probably know him as a bald white expert guy. Probably his most famous role would be Mr. Musicki in the film Independence Day, where he was a sniveling little worm and eventually got fired for hiding. I don't remember what he was fired over. His role in that movie was basically just being the annoying Washington insider who got in the way. Probably another highlight of his career was the year 1992, when he had minor roles in the movie Scent of a Woman and in My Cousin Vinny, where he wound up acting alongside of Al Pacino and Marissa Tomei, who together both won Academy Awards. James Rebhorn, however, not really the kind of actor who was ever going to win an Academy Award. He was just a solid performer. You know, not anybody who would really inspire anybody to act. Not really anybody who really made that much of an impression. And that's what he was important at. He played characters who didn't really make that big of an impression. He was just elderly, not really elderly, but middle-aged, white, professionals. And there you are. You need somebody who needs to play middle-aged white professionals. And James Rebhorn, he was there. When he needed to be funny, he was funny. When he needed to be dickish, he was dickish. It didn't matter what the role was, he was there, he was ready to act, and he was always enthusiastic. He never put in a bad performance, even though he was kind of not really famous. But that doesn't matter. James Rebhorn, I think, is kind of inspirational. He's not really important, but he did his job well. And in movies, you need people like that. You got your Brad Pitts who are going to be superstars and going to make billions of dollars, and you got your James Rebhorns who just lived in New York City. And, actually, I met the man back in 1998. Random things. I was like 7 years old? I recognized him immediately because Independence Day back in the mid-90s was my favorite goddamn movie. So, like, it was on VHS virtually constantly. It only came out of the VHS box when Star Wars needed to come in. So, anyway, James Rebhorn, I recognized him then, and, my dad was talking to him. And, my dad is... I love my dad, but he knows exactly the worst thing to say in every single social situation. So if a terrible pun needs to get made, he's going to make a terrible pun. If he meets a Japanese man, he's going to start talking about Godzilla. You know, like, just the stupidest thing. So, like, when he sees James Rebhorn, he's like, "Oh, you look like that actor guy!" And James Rebhorn didn't take it too well, and he said, "I am that actor guy." That kind of killed the conversation, and that was really it with my 6-year-old life meeting a famous person. No, I think I was 7. Doesn't matter. So, James Rebhorn died age 65. Too young, I think. Minor of importance, but still something of an inspiration. Still something that you should look to. If you want to be an actor, you know, you might not become Angelina Jolie, but you might become James Rebhorn. You know? That's it. That's all I got there. Anyway, I'm not going to transition in any sort of good way. Instead, I'm going to now talk about the movie Need for Speed, which I saw a week ago. Unfortunately, the blog has kind of been on a back burner. I've been slightly busy, things, whatever. Kind of trying experiments. Things not really working out too well. Some things have been working out. I don't really want to get into any specifics, but Need for Speed was a movie I saw, and now I'm going to talk about it. This is the movie we're getting in 2014 instead of Fast and Furious 7 because Paul Walker unfortunately died. So what Need for Speed is that it's theoretically an adaptation of an EA car game. I don't really know much about the Need for Speed card game. Car game, not card game. And I'm going to be honest, the director of this movie, whose name Scott Waugh, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, it's W-A-U-G-H, so Scott Waugh. I'm not sure if he's played the Need for Speed game either, because I'm not sure if that game has a plot or anything. It doesn't matter. Because a video game, what happens with this movie is an EA logo floats up on screen, and that's it. We're out of the world of video games, because what Need for Speed is really about, and this is what kind of makes this movie lovable, it's about cars. In fact, let me sum it up the most succinct way I know how. And, throw in Jeremy Clarkson going and saying stuff like, the savagery, and all that stuff. Have the Top Gear guys go and put together a trailer. It'll look great. It's a gear-grinding, turbocharged, petrolhead fantasy. That's the movie. It's made for car nerds. Like, you're going and watching this movie, and in there, you got Bugattis, you got Lamborghinis, you got McLarens, you got Mustangs, Koenigsegg's, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. Alright, they're driving through Detroit. They're driving at the Bonneville Salt Flats for no reason. They're going along San Francisco. The movie opens with a drive-in movie theater, with young people at, which hasn't happened since the 1970s, and that was in the movie Grease, alright? Drive-in movie theaters have not been relevant in decades, but this movie, Need for Speed, makes it relevant, because it's a movie for car nerds, alright? Watching this movie, it's like, what's a good metaphor? It'd be like, it's like the car version of watching some fangirl direct a scene where you have Kirk and Mr. Spock and Bones all there together in bed having some rough sex. You see a Bugatti and a Lamborghini, they're bursting along. These are top-of-the-line vehicles. You got the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento, like the rarest car, the most ridiculously rich thing. That's like Bones down there working the shaft for a fangirl. That's a nerd fantasy. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a... I can't do that joke. I suck. Whatever. Doesn't matter. The movie has virtually no plot, and that's kind of to its advantage. I can't really say Need for Speed is a good movie. See, it's not really a good movie, but it's a fun movie, because I feel there's some real passion in there. And it might be kind of this clinical, ridiculous, let's see how much shit we can throw on screen, this big circus of a spectacle kind of passion. But it's passion nonetheless. It's better than your average bullshit Hollywood, whatever. I mean, the movie's more grounded than the average Fast and Furious film, so there's no pancake cars, and I don't need to get here and get drunk to just talk for 2 goddamn hours like I did last year about Furious 6. The cars are there, they're driving along, and for Need for Speed's credit, for the good things here, is that every single shot, virtually every effect, is practical. This is actual driving. So, you see people dashing around a midnight town, racing after a steam train in some sort of weird Bruce Springsteen fantasy come to life. And that's an actual actor in a car driving along. So when they're making crazy turns, that's somebody doing that. When the car's flipping around blowing up, that's a real car blowing up. And just in case you're wondering, and if you're worried, they do not actually blow up a Sesto Elemento in this movie. Alright? That would be like just taking a shit on the Mona Lisa, alright? You don't do it. Sesto Elemento probably worth more than the Mona Lisa, so don't. It's just a car made up to look like one. But it doesn't matter, because it's still a practical car, it's still actual driving, and that kind of makes the difference. Like, even what's kind of relatively stock racing scenes, but when there's a real car there and you feel that physical threat, it makes the movie better, it makes the movie more exciting, and I thought Need for Speed was generally decent, despite having no plot. Here, let me try to go through the plot as much as I can. It stars Aaron Paul, who plays Toby Marshall. Aaron Paul you know as the diminutive sidekick from Breaking Bad. He's an actor that's more forehead than man. He's okay, but he's not great. He's got a good voice for a leading role, but he doesn't really have the look for it. He's really short. And this whole movie's kind of like a weird journey into Munchkinland, because for his entire Fast and Furious buddy crew, there's still a Fast and Furious ripoff, let's get that straight. But amongst his entire Fast and Furious crew, they managed to find all actors who are no taller than 5'10", so, he's not getting overwhelmed. Anyway, Toby Marshall is this, this jughead kind of meathead mechanic And that's looking too much. But anyway, he's got a place in, like, upstate New York. He's a mechanic. And in comes Dominic Cooper, who is the villain. His name is Dino Brewster. That's all I really got about him. He's the villain. He doesn't have much of a role. He's just a dick. He's like, hey, I got this rare Mustang, and if you guys fix up this Mustang, which was made by Carroll Shelby, the late Carroll Shelby himself. See, this is a movie for car nerds, so names like Carroll Shelby get thrown around. Yeah? So, alright, let's go and build this Mustang. So they build a Mustang, and they sell it, and they get $4 million. And you think, alright, that's great. No, it's $3 million. Or it might have been $2.7 million. It doesn't matter. They work together, they have a car, they sell it, looks like everything's fine. Until, of course, they get into a huge pissing contest over whose dick is bigger and who can drive better. So, they come in, and Dino Brewster's like, hey, I got these 3 Koenigsegg's. Let's go and drive like lunatics across the road. And they do. And, Aaron Paul, I guess I should call him Toby, whatever, who cares. He's got a little sidekick. It's really annoying, kind of like Robin or, Tails from Sonic. Sonic! Oh, Sonic! Yeah, he's got like this little, really just annoying sidekick who's like way too enthusiastic for the whole racing thing. He's like, yay, I get to prove myself! This is just like my dream! You're gonna beat Dino! Like, there's no real establishment why these characters are rivals or any of this shit. And the fact that I'm describing what's basically the setup, we're not even really in the first act, and it takes about 40 minutes. It's one of the major problems of Need for Speed. It takes that long for us to finally get to the point. Anyway, shit goes wrong. Annoying sidekick blows the fuck up. Dino Brewster gets away with it, grows a mustache just so he can twirl it, and Aaron Paul winds up going to jail. Very sad. Then he gets out years later, and he wants his revenge, which involves him taking part in this ultra-rare, ultra-exclusive, completely ridiculous super race getting put together by Michael Keaton, who is still back from the dead after coming back for RoboCop, and great to see you, Michael Keaton. He's just this jive-talking radio host. He's like a rogue millionaire, maybe some sort of bizarre alternate universe Batman where instead of deciding to fight crime, his parents got run over by a car, so now he puts together races. I don't know, He's just this weird Greek chorus just telling the whole story, and he runs the entire plot. He has this crazy race, and Toby Marshall has to drive all the way across the United States to get to it in the super rare Mustang. Okay, that's your plot. And it's like, we could have gotten there much easier. We didn't have to have 40 minutes go by. You could have cut a whole lot. This movie's too long. And the plot is stupid. But, now I get to introduce what I think is probably my favorite part of this movie, other than the cars. And that is, Imogen Poots, playing the main love interest, who is Julia Madden. Imogen Poots, her character is the girly girl. Alright, she's the girl, she comes in, and she's got high heels, and she's got her hair all good. It's kind of like that one Top Gear episode where, James May, that was it, James May. It's kind of like that one Top Gear episode where James May was racing in the Balearic Islands. I think that's where it was. They gave him just a model to hang with, and it was really awkward, because James May's a super nerd, and this model's really girly. But, Julia Madden, this character, actually pretty well written, I gotta say. Even though she's just the girl, and her whole point in this thing is like, oh my god, what are you doing? They at least set up that she's a driver, kind of unbelievably. She's beautiful, she's charming, she's just basically playing the chick, but she does a pretty good job of it, and shockingly, I think for the very first time in all of 2014, the first movie, 2 lead stars actually have chemistry with each other. Aaron Paul and Imogen Poots, their characters, start off at a point of antagonism. After a whole bunch of adventures together, come together, they're kind of romantically interested, and, you can see how these characters work. Their personalities run together. Their scenes aren't badly written. And I gotta say, they made the heart of the movie. You got the mechanical beating, horsepower, octane, you got that shit. You have the much nicer, 2 characters just working together. So this movie really badly responded to. It got shit reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and honestly, the general public, they saw this and they said, this isn't Fast and Furious, we don't care. And so that's it. Like, that's fucking it. They just ignored it. And I gotta say, they missed what was generally a pretty good movie. And, I always have to admire great driving, and I've always loved kind of cars. Like, I'm not a big car nerd, but I like watching car things. And I can appreciate, like, when somebody does something really crazy, I'm like, that is cool. Really cool cars are great. I got a shitty Hyundai whose left turn signal turns on and off randomly. I don't know why. And, I consider it a moment of divine inspiration if I manage to parallel park. Yes! Yes, I did it! Ooh! Oh, and I'm even straight. I'm not, like, on a 45-degree angle. It's wonderful, And then these guys, they're spinning around, and they got supercars, and they're driving, they're fighting the police, and they actually managed to do a hell of a lot of wreckage for really no good reason. Like, they really fuck things up in this movie, and kind of for no good, he's got to drive across the United States, and of course he does it in the most hot-dogging, insane fucking way. So he goes into a New Jersey suburb, and he's like, oh, there's traffic ahead, and it's New Jersey, there's gonna be traffic, He drives into, like, New Milford or something, the town where my little brother lives. No, not lives, goes to school. And, like, he's fucking diving through parking lots, and there's, like, huge pile-ups, and there's cops getting flipped over. Like, why the fuck are you doing this? These are just innocent people. You're just like, ah, my leg! Oh my god, he's dead! He's fucking dead! Help us! Like, what are you doing, Toby? Chill the fuck out! Michael Keaton, don't kill everybody. Maybe cut out a few of those more insane scenes where the main actor seemed like a dick. There's a really fucking annoying comic relief guy in a helicopter who's just awful. I wish he was gone. Of the supporting characters, you got Aaron Paul, you got Imogen Poots. Everyone else is kind of not that good in this movie. There's one guy who gets naked. I don't even need to describe why. There's one point where they fill up a car while driving 70 miles an hour in the middle of the road, which I don't think is that necessary. Filling up your car takes 5 minutes. It's not that important. Don't kill yourself. So anyway, the lesson of the day here is that stupid blockbusters can still be fun, and drive safely. So do that. Need for Speed, pretty good movie. As for blog stuff, more stuff is coming. I got a few posts. I got a lot of movies I gotta cover, actually. Rather, I fucking threw myself right into the ditch by not doing too much work. I got the Muppets movie, I got Grand Budapest Hotel, and there's 2 movies that just came out. What is it? Shockingly, the ripoff of Hunger Games, what was it called? Divergent? That wound up winning. It beat the Muppets movie. Like, why did that do that? Apparently, I don't know, maybe it's actually pretty good. It got decent reviews. And here's one I'm not looking forward to. There's another Christian movie that came out. And I'm not saying anything bad about Christians, but this looks like really, really fucking bad. It looks like real right-wing lunatic propaganda. It's called God's Not Dead. And I have to see that, because that may just be the worst movie of 2014. It's seriously, from what I've seen in the trailers and what reviews it's gotten, it looks really bad. It's like movie 43 bad. Okay? So, I'll just post this, throw some images in there, and that's a day's work.